Hello, folks. Welcome to season 4 of our On the Fall series produced by the Stars Among Us. I'm Ozzy, and I thank you very much for tuning into this thank you tour of mine, as each episode is a thank you card to someone who has impacted my life. Now, on the 6th episode of season 4, I'm shining light on Jaime Baker. Hello, Jaime.
Hey, Ozzy. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, Jaime. I thank you for giving me some of your very busy time.
Of course. I'm glad to do it.
Wonderful. So just for my audience, I want to let you know that Jaime Baker is a talent manager. He is a talent manager that deals in the television, film, theater, commercial, and voiceover world. Some of his clients are Target, Pepsi, Starbucks, Citibank, MTV, McDonald's, Starwood, and more. And you might know some of the pools that he dips his toe in, which are like Equalizer, Manifest, Succession, NCIS, FBI, Power, and more. There's a lot of theatrical work that he has placed a lot of his talent in. But I want to start off with, Jaime, this question. How did you get into the business?
Well, I'm a lawyer by training, so I became a lawyer, and I worked at a law firm for a few years, and I didn't love my job. And I wanted to go into something that I was passionate about. So I decided, what am I passionate about? And I thought, entertainment, film has always been a passion of mine. I always loved seeing films, and I wanted to get somehow, connected to that world. So I decided to work at a talent agency. So I worked at a talent agency named Brett Adams for 1 year. And so after a year, I was an assistant there. I went on my own and I started my own company 23 years ago.
Wow.
Knock on wood, it's still going well.
Even with the lawyer thing, was that something you always wanted to do, or?
I kind of fell into it. I was in my undergrad upstate in Binghamton University. I was, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. So I was going into languages. So I speak a few languages fluently. I speak Spanish, Italian, English, of course, and a little bit of French. And I wanted to become an interpreter. That's why I went to college. But I shifted gears, and I decided to go into political science. So I graduated political science and Italian language at a double major. And then, a good progression was to go do my grad work at a law school. So I got into law school. I went to Syracuse University. And then, I decided to get into the legal field. So it was just an easy progression for me, just from political science and my language background, went international business law. And then when I graduated, I worked at a law firm that did international business transactions.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a backup plan at that point? I mean, when you got into the talent business, or were you fiercely looking forward and that's it?
That's it. I think there's a saying, usually as a talent manager or a talent agent, usually after 2 weeks, if this is something that you could do long term. Mm-hmm. And so I decided, 2 weeks, I was hooked. I knew this is something that, I get to use my legal background with the contract work, mm-hmm. and I get to use my negotiating skills. And it's something that is, it's kind of a great fit for me. So early on in my 20s, I knew that this was something that's going to be long term. So there was no backup plan.
Mm-hmm. What has been the most challenging aspects of being a talent manager?
Most challenging. I guess, I don't want to be negative. Sometimes the most challenging is, actors that are not, responsible, actors that might not be 100% committed to their craft. Mm-hmm. So, sometimes they might not get a self-tape in on time. Mm-hmm. That's a very challenging part of it, because you're getting somebody motivated is very difficult if they don't want to do it themselves. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's a very challenging part.
Mm-hmm. Jaime, where were you born?
I was born here in New York. I was born in Manhattan.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I was born in Manhattan, and then I was raised in Queens. And I ended up back in Queens, and I live in Queens now. Queens is where I'm staying. I think I'm staying here for a little bit. I have family in Florida, so I like to get back and visit Florida for the holidays and just kind of regroup. It's warm, and I get to see my family in Florida.
So, what percentage of your talent comes from referrals versus showcases?
Well, right now, because of the pandemic and everything going virtual, a lot of referrals. I wasn't able to see a lot of in-person showcases, obviously. There's a couple of Zoom showcases that I've been invited to, which are fewer and far between, but a lot of referrals. Casting directors refer to me, actors refer other actors. So a big chunk of my pool of new people, prospective talent comes from referrals. When I was really hungry and I was in my 20s still, it was predominantly, showcases. That's where I found actors. But now that I've been doing it for so long, people know my reputation.
Is there a particular part of the industry that you prefer more than the other? For instance, television versus film or theater, or commercials? Is there any one of those that you really prefer to work within?
I love all aspects of the industry. So, it's always challenging, to work on a film, a TV series, to help cast a theater project. I get excited about all areas. Voiceover is a big part of what I do. So it's, we're a full service management company, and I really enjoy working on all different types of projects. And the beauty of the entertainment industry is that it's always changing. It's always a new project. So I get to be creative that way.
In this pandemic world, has there been one aspect that has really mushroomed much more than the others? Voiceovers. I mean, really. There were a lot of voiceover projects before the pandemic, but everything's turned virtual for the voiceover world. I don't really think that it may go back to in person. I think it's really changed the way voiceovers are done and recorded and produced. I really think it's more of a virtual project now. So yeah, I really think it really has enhanced and changed the voiceover world. What makes you smile now, being a talent manager, especially in the world that we live in now? Because as you say, things have changed. What really makes you smile now about being the manager that you are, doing what you're doing still?
I mean, I still get, really excited about a project, when I put an actor in front of a casting director that's right for a TV show, for instance, and the casting director sees it my way, and that really makes me smile. I have an actress recently who was up for 4 different roles on New Amsterdam. And they really considered her for 4 different roles because they were so specific. It was they need authentic Brits. So she went in and they had her read for 4 different roles, and she's pinned for one of those roles. And it wasn't easy for them to find and fill these slots, but that really made me smile, and it really kind of showed me that I get to be creative, and it's nice when the casting directors see it my way as well.
At this point in your career, after all these years, do you have more to achieve within the industry? And if so, what would that be?
I think there is. It's finding great projects for actors that are working with me. There's always a new project. There's always something creative, a new role to help cast in different areas. So yeah, I think there's still, I still get to be excited about my job. And the beauty of the job is because it changes so much, I'm never bored.
Are there projects that you're also doing on your own?
It's interesting that you asked me this. I was talking to an actor recently, and we were thinking of producing a film early next year, in March. So, I feel that I want to be creative and I want to produce something. I definitely want to be executive producer and get a writer involved and get actors involved. So things are in the works for something creative in the new year. It'll probably be an indie feature-length film.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Huh. What do you do differently to protect yourself and your talent in this COVID world that we're living in?
I still work from home, so that's really changed the landscape for a lot of people. I still work from home. I go into the office, a couple times a week, just to pick up, mail and things like that. And sometimes I work out of the office for a few hours. I'm really not doing in-person meetings yet. So yeah, that's kind of how, I'm being protected. And obviously there's all the COVID protocols that all the different studios have when they're shooting their films and their, TV shows. So those are all in place. So that's pretty good.
Have you ever heard from talent when they're on set that the protocols aren't being met?
No, I've experienced the opposite. A lot of times people are being screened 3-4 times before they get on set, with PCR tests and rapid tests the day of. So I've experienced the opposite, people being very, very, very careful.
How has this new world affected you personally and professionally?
In terms of COVID?
Yes.
Personally, I've had friends pass away, so that's, and people that I've known. So that's been really sad. And professionally, things took a dip for everybody last year. 2020 was a tough year because people were not working. So obviously, everybody was affected professionally, but things have picked up this year. I think it's going to be a better year. And then hopefully next year, things will be pretty much back to normal, I hope.
Yeah. What do you enjoy doing on your off time?
I love movies. I love watching films. TV series have become very cinematic. So I love a couple of different TV series. And I love to paint. So I'm trying to get back into painting. I have a lot of things that I painted in my apartment. And I want to get back to that. So I'm thinking of doing that. I love to cook as well.
What are your favorite dishes?
I like to make lasagna, pasta, different pastas. Today I made, a Latino food. It was rice, beans, protein. It was chicken, and then sweet plantains. So I made that today.
So how come you never invited me over, Jaime? My gosh.
You're welcome to come over. I'll make a deal with you. I'll cook for you one day, and then one day I'll come over and you'll cook for me.
Absolutely. So what are your views about things politically, generally?
So most people know, my close friends know that I'm not very political. I don't get involved. I'm very, I try to help family and friends. I'm always here to support. I think that's, should be our legacy, to support each other, be kind to each other, love each other. But, when it comes to politics, I really don't get involved because I know that a lot of people get really fired up about different politics. So I usually, in my Facebook posts and things like that, I don't really get political, even though, I do vote and I get behind different, issues. I just try not to make it political because, we have so many differences between each other that sometimes, it makes it hard, when you have family members that are right wing or things like that. And I try not to get involved so that I'm not fighting with people all the time.
Have you noticed that fighting tick up this year or last year?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have, they get really incensed on social media if they see something that they don't like. And so it just gets really tough.
So what do you draw on for inspiration professionally?
I mean, sometimes when you do something for so long, it becomes automatic.
Right.
And you have a job to do. And so I kind of draw my experience in the industry, the 23 years of experience. Every time I submit on a project, that's 23 years of know-how that I am applying to that particular job. So, I've learned so much throughout the years. I've learned how to negotiate, how to look at a contract, submit actors creatively in different areas. Yeah, so I draw on that, on all the experiences that I've had.
What do you draw on personally that takes you from day to day?
Oh my gosh, it's tough. I was talking to my friend today and I told him that sometimes it's hard to get motivated. Sometimes you have to change things up. I think having a plan, special trip. I want to see my family for the holidays. They live in Orlando. When I get off the phone with you, I'm thinking of booking my flight, being home for the holidays with them. Mm-hmm. And that's going to inspire me to get me through the end of the year. So, I think a special trip. I love to travel. Next year for my birthday, I'd like to be in Europe in June.
Where in Europe?
Maybe Spain, maybe France. And that'll be something nice to look forward to for my birthday.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend who last year was living in Miami. And because of COVID and things that were not being upheld and everything, he decided to pick up and relocate to Argentina.
Oh, that's
totally out of the country. So on one hand, I miss him here. But on the other hand, I have a new place to visit at some point.
Yes.
But even since then, he's been traveling all over the place. He's now in Curacao. So go figure.
Oh, that's amazing. If I was a little bit of a nomad, I probably would have moved too. Worked as a digital nomad. You can pretty much work from anywhere.
Right.
So maybe next year, hopefully I can travel a little bit more and I can do that. I can work from anywhere. I can still submit actors and negotiate for projects. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what COVID has changed for us. It's really, we can really work from anywhere. I have an actor that just booked a guest lead on Blue Bloods. He's living in Wisconsin and he flew in with enough time for the COVID protocols and then he shot his guest lead and then went right back to Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. So, Jaime, I really, really wanted to speak with you because this season is about those who've impacted my life when I was dealing with my son. And you were one of the people who was there for me, not only close on the phone, but also in terms of castings. Do you know you sent me out that year for over 40 castings?
That's amazing.
Yes, it is amazing. Didn't book as many as I did in 2018 and 19 for you, but you were always there. That did so much for me when I was dealing with what I was dealing with him. To feel like I still mattered was important. Mm-hmm. As a person and also as talent, that you would have me on the list and keep pounding me out. For that alone, I am so indebted to you, and you have been there for me in so many ways that I really, really wanted people to know who you are through my little podcast here.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that we had this time.
Yes. And so to my audience, I'm going to say, this is Jaime Baker, talent manager, cook, lawyer, and friend. And audience, please care to share. And remember, when you're on your beat, stay on the sunny side of the street safely. Be mask conscious. It's still real out there. And Jaime, once again, thank you for giving me this spot of time with you. I really wanted to tell you that I appreciate you. I appreciate you always being in my life since you came into my life or I came into yours, and for being there for me in so many different ways. Thank you very, very much for this time. I really love it.
You're most welcome, Ozzy. Thanks for going on this ride for me, because I need you guys just as much as you guys need us, representation.
Oh, Jaime, thank you very, very much. And we will be talking soon.
Thanks,
I'm coming
Ozzy.
over for dinner.
All right, we'll talk soon, Ozzy.
Hey
all right.
Bye.
Bye.
Please help us in our mission to support those facing fatal diseases through our t-shirt sales by donating or shopping at OzzyStewart.com or supporting us at anchor.fm/Ozzy Stewart. That's ANCHOR.FM/Ozzy Stewart. And don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel at Ozzy Stewart. Yep. Leave a comment.